again, everybody. Welcome anyone who's here watching. I hope you're enjoying the video. We got another episode of World of Tanks gameplay, Xbox Console Edition. I'm your host, TedTokez, with the commentary. A little bit of voiceover here. As we watch these playbacks of these matches, we notice how on the front lines we kind of charge right in, not being real cautious of where we're putting the armor and how much we're exposing ourselves. But even though I took some damage there, I was still able to get rid of that one tank. I'm working on this other one. We're able to get rid of 2 of the 3, and there's just this one left up here. And as long as the team keeps participating, maybe more than they were, their front lines is pretty much going to be their Overwatch pretty soon. They won't even have the front lines, the enemy team. They got this tank here on the corner that I'm pushing up towards, and I'm hesitant because I got 1 shot of health, so I got to really pick my peak. I got a teammate pushing up with me, so that gives me the opportunity, but the tank sees I'm a 1 shot, so he just rushes in for that kill. I managed to block it. I managed to evade his attempt, and I'm still surviving. I push up past this object, trying to get behind him so I can get them weak armor penetrations. Because them objects, there's not even some of the best tanks, like the A-class tanks, which I'd consider the Leopard and the A-class tanks. They're still not really even competing with them objects at the time being. You know, this was recorded, what was it, June 30th, I think, or June 20th, I think. This one was on the 21st. So these came from June 21st, 2024. Just now releasing the chopped up version of the session. And it's like, almost July now. So, it's been about a week since we've played these matches. I'm sure the object's still the same, but if you're watching this video like a year down the road, the object might have been and they've probably have the object settled somewhere on like the A-class tanks, but right now it's just being treated as like a super tank. It's not really fair for any of the other tanks, even the better tanks of the Era 3. That's my opinion. I think it's more than an opinion, but my opinion is the object is very overrated, and that's why it's going to be overvalued, because it's overrated. We're watching this match here fast forward. Looks like I might have jumped through some of the POVs that time. Team's cleaning up the rest of the enemies. There's only one more enemy hiding out there, and they've already found him. So they're gonna dogpile that tank over there, and there you go. That's that one though. It was not the best match, but pretty decent fight. Sucks that we were dead for half the match, but that's the way it goes when you're the actual participant. Sometimes you don't get to keep participating because of how people are participating, and I'm not blaming them. I have just as much blame for pushing forward as much as I do, as they do for pulling back as much as they do. It's the same blame. It's the same amount of blame. It's just the amount changes whenever I go into enemy territory. That's no longer me playing the front line. That's me pushing a little bit further than I even need to push. When you guys play Overwatch, you're not even playing Overwatch. You guys are playing like artillery. You're replacing a tank type that was taken out of the match. And, you guys think you're Overwatch, but you're not Overwatch, because as soon as the front lines pushes forward, you probably can't help them, if you even could or were helping them. So you're not Overwatch, guys. You're just a bunch of jackasses in 1 to 3 squares of the map, holding hands, getting points by default, probably because somebody else who's not in your team of 10 holding hands in 1 to 3 squares of the map. We finished that one enemy tank right there, and I start progressing back with my teammate here. Got a nice little bit of thumper action there, pushing ahead of me. We push past him as he takes the top of that hill there, and I push straight into this enemy here. I get a deflection, give him a little ram damage, and these thumpers can be tricky sometimes, you know. They got pretty decent armor, and they got a really good gun. I'd give them both B-class. It's got a B-class hull and a B-class turret and gun. That's my opinion. You know, I'm not very exact. I'm not here as a intellectual arguing these statistics. I'm just saying how I feel about it. Because a lot of my tanks, I don't even play off of their statistics. I play by how they feel. That's why I'm always noticing without even looking or seeing, because I got such a big TV, sometimes I'm not always looking at every corner of the screen to see these other things. And sometimes, you know, when you notice, well, my tank's not turning right, or my barrel's not turning right, or this thing's shooting like crap, or this reload's way off. You know, even if I'm not looking at the number, I could still tell the difference between a 5-second, 6-second reload and a 10, 11-second reload. You're going to feel that as you play the game. You don't need the game to tell you that. However, it is a benefit, you know, all them little user interface portions of the screen, you know, those are very, very beneficial to use. I spent years ignoring them just to make myself be able to play a certain way in case something happened, like I wouldn't have a map, or I don't have a little HUD I don't have a dashboard that tells me my check engine light's on, you know what I mean? So when I started off in the World War modes way back, you know, 6, 7, 8 years ago, I didn't play like I just played the game. I didn't really focus on being able to, oh, I could put these equipments on this tank and make it this way, or oh, I can run with these consumables. I didn't do that stuff, you know. I didn't do that stuff until long later in my career. And I honestly think that's what made me be half as good as I am at times, because like a lot of times I'm not really thinking about, oh man, you know, I was able to beat this situation because of these equipments or this situationally upgraded play style, you know. It was just pure capability and skill, leading at the middle, and if it was high enough on the mountain, I was climbing the peak, you know. That's all there was to it back then. Now you got tanks that do stuff that they not even supposed to do. You got armors that don't work or do work that they're not supposed to, or do or are supposed. It's a silly game now. The developers, I don't think they're really in it for making a good game. Whoever bought the company, I don't think they're trying to make a good game. I think they're just trying to make a game that you guys are comfortable enough to spend money on. Otherwise, why would they have every tank that comes out? Every new tank is so much more powerful, and it just has so many more advantages than every other tank in the match, on top of the fact that they boost it up because it's their new tank and they want people to think it's better than it is, and they want you to spend that money on it. And then you guys do, because you're suckers, you know? Oh, an object will help me carry my weight by default, and because I can't carry my weight without being in Overwatch and having all these tanks play for me, I'll go buy an object and then never have to actually deflect a single bullet that's shot at me. It'll deflect it for me. You know what I mean? Because the tank is favored that way. The tank's not even that strong. There's tanks in this game that should penetrate it easily, whether you're shooting it in the front or not. But they don't. Why? because the game is developed the way that it is developed. Whether it's an algorithm or some script that they've placed in place, you know, these commands and actions that the game's script takes or run, it's not really there to make the game good. I, if they wanted to try to make the game proper, then you wouldn't have Leopard 2A5 bullets bouncing off the back end of light tanks consecutively. And I'm not talking about like, you know, like that was a weird shot. I felt like that should have hit him, but it didn't. You know, so there was another one. Alright, but anyway, I mean, you guys saw it. It was a pretty straightforward shot that should have hit, but it ended up missing. You know, I don't know how it missed, but that's the whole skill-based scaling thing that I'm talking about. You know, the game's not really designed to be straightforward. It's so curved for the community that it's almost unplayable. But with that being known, it is still the best game to play in order to experience such an experience. I mean, well, okay, that's more of an opinion-based comment. I'm not really a fan of War Thunder. I just haven't played it much and never got into it. But the tanks, this World of Tanks, I feel like it's so individually based on tanks that there's no reason for War Thunder to be a better game for tanks than this game, if it is. Now, like I said, I haven't really got into War Thunder. It's probably also a very good game. I hear a lot of people like it. It's another free-to-play game if you're interested. All you need is your console, the game itself, and an internet connection. That's all you need to play it. I mean, your console and controller, obviously, but, you know. A nice little deflection, trying to get some nice long-range shots here, but I deflected that shot. We get a penetration on that one. And we're just going to keep trying to work into them. Yeah, we're kind of overwatching right now, but, you know, I got 2 kills. You know, I played my frontline game. Clearly still moving forward. I just got a little preoccupied with looking down my barrel and aiming my reticle for a nice shot. So it's not really that I'm playing Overwatch. I just happen to be further back than the front line this time. Which obviously changes because, you know, I'm always on the front line. If I'm alive, there's really not a point in the match unless I'm not playing that I'm not the lead tank, it seems like. I don't know if it's because it's my play style that makes me in front of everybody every game, or if it's because nobody else actually progresses forward, and maybe I don't know, maybe I am pushing too hard on myself to make myself actually earning what I earn. And failing where I fail, you know, because I earn those just as much as the points that I earn when I do earn them. But sometimes I fail because, you know, I tend to bite more off than I can chew. I try to put myself in situations that, you know, it's going to force me to make myself be good or get better to win. And, you know, in situations like that, that's how you get better. If you sit there and play Overwatch all game, you're never going to know how to do anything but Overwatch. You're never going to learn how to use the armor on your tank. You're never going to learn how to use the turret armor as you try to trajectorize your barrel towards an enemy while there's multiple enemies in close quarters combat with you, and you have to figure out how to adjust your tank and more than just let me go sit up on this hill and that's that. You know what I mean? No. When you're in the battle zone, you actually have to know how to play with your tank. That's why they won't play like that. But it's all right, you know. I'm still doing all right for myself. We're making our points. You know, we may not have the best survivability, but I think my survivability is actually better than theirs.